This is Amy from Amy Plus Joe, and we are appropriately at the Dallas Cowboy Golf Course in Dallas, Texas, and we just finished a round. And I want to pop on here and tell you really quick, my next podcast guest is a former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, KayDianna MacKenzie, veteran. She's got amazing stories, and I've decided to do a part 1 and 2. So the part 1 answers the questions we all want to know. What is it really like to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? Part 2, we spilled the tea, you guys. It's all about why she decided to leave, the drama at the end from the show American Sweethearts on Netflix. So you don't want to miss out on part 1 and part 2. What score did I get?
I think you got a 91 or 92.
Oh, nice. Welcome to the Amy Plus podcast. Today's guest is someone I have been so excited to have on the show because as a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan, the only thing I've admired even more are the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. They are the gold standard, iconic, world-class, signature moves, and every little girl in Texas adores of dreaming becoming one. Today's guest spent years on that field as one of those legendary DCC women. And today, she's spilling the tea on what it's really like, the discipline, the poise, the confidence, and the behind-the-scenes moments fans never get to see. She's currently choreographing, a mentor, a TikTok creator, and if that wasn't enough, she's a podcast host too. She's beautiful, inspiring, and full of faith. So, with that said, welcome to the show, KayDianna MacKenzie.
Thanks for having me. That made me sound so cool.
That was fun, like creating the intro for you. So I was like, wow, you really have done so many things.
Thank you. I'm very blessed, to say the least, for a 26-year-old to have experienced so much at a young age. So
Yeah, so I was so excited to have you on because, like I said in my intro, I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. I feel sorry for myself sometimes.
me too.
But saying that, I've always wanted to know more about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and learning more behind the scenes, and I'm very excited to get into it. But I want to ask you a question before we dive in. The iconic Thunderstruck intro that you guys do before every game.
Yes.
The moves, it's precise. Everything about it is perfection. And for me, I've watched so many Dallas Cowboy games. I still get the chills. When I'm as a fan, I see you guys out there and I get the chills. It's very emotional. But my real question is like two things. How do you make it so precise? And second, have any of you guys ever pulled a hamstring?
Oh, no. Well, the first one, how do we make it so clean and precise? Honestly, it's just because that's one of the first things that you learn when you're in training camp. And so we are cleaning it nonstop. And especially with Judy, she will make sure that you are on your yard lines. Everyone's looking clean. Everyone looks the same. So we definitely drill it a lot. We actually do it before games as well. And we watch it on the big screen before every game. So it's our film, it's our tape. So we have to watch ourselves and make sure that we're fixing our mistakes and things. So we're just running it constantly. And that's why it looks the way that it does.
When you guys do it, is it emotional even though you do it a lot?
Every single time I hit the tunnel, it didn't matter if I was a rookie or even my last year, I would have like tears in my eyes. And that was the moment where I would just honestly thank God and just say, wow, I can't believe you've even brought me here. I can't believe I've gotten to this place, and just like thanking him for everything that he's done, getting me to that moment, because little KayDianna would have never expected.
Oh,
There,
I
so
love that.
Definitely emotional for
Okay,
her.
because it does for the fans, and I'm older. I've seen a lot of games. I've seen a lot of kicks, and my husband and I went to a game recently, and I remember we were a little late getting to our seats, and that song came on. You guys came out, and both of us, even my husband, were like, "Ooh, we gotta stop and go look over and watch you guys do your thing." So it's just, I love it. Oh, by the way, has anybody pulled a hamstring?
Oh, yes, including myself. You definitely have some injuries when you're doing Thunder. That's why you have to just make sure that you're staying stretched And also you're staying fit and healthy in the right ways because it deals with a lot of different muscles. So for me, I've tweaked a knee before. I've had heart problems before on the team. I've had ankle surgery, and then I have hip problems.
Wow.
So it's definitely one of those things where it's bound to happen, but you kind of dance through it because you don't get to do it for long.
Okay, good. I had to ask that first. I was like, I have to know. So before we get started, I do ask all my guests, what's your fit? So what are you wearing today?
My fit today, so I have a cute little fuchsia pink set on, and that comes from one of my family friends' boutique, actually, Dear Darlin Boutique. And then my blazer, this is my favorite blazer. I call it my personality blazer with all the different patches and things on it. And this one's from Shop Dear Hannah Boutique, and that's here in Fort Worth, actually.
It's so cute. Do you add
Thank
patches?
you. No, it comes like this.
Okay, I have to get me
But
one of
that'd be
those.
cute.
Fuchsia's my favorite color. So when you walk through the
Here.
door, I was like, we're vibing. Same.
Here, I love it.
Still look beautiful. And your hair and your makeup, which I am going to talk to you about.
Yes,
So you're
thank you.
so professional at all the things, putting on the makeup. So I was thinking, I was like, do I wear, the Cowboys? But yes, I did. I just did it.
I love it.
The jersey, and you said that you're like, there's nothing. It's a jersey. It's a look.
It is always the look. You can never go wrong with a good jersey. One of my favorite outfits is an extra large jersey with cute boots, like knee-high boots. Always a hit. Never misses. Never misses.
Yeah. So I got that, and then my friends painted on my Alice Olivia jeans. Did the Asics on, and then I got my Gigi Burgers hat, which she's a hat designer out of New York. And I met her randomly at a fashion event in Dallas and Island Park. And she was so sweet. And she was like, Amy, you have to get this hat. Because her hats are like really formal and lovely and all the things. But I was like, okay, this is perfect.
I love it.
So saying that, you look adorable.
Thank you.
And I love your makeup.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to pop to that question. I'm just going to go
Okay.
straight there.
Okay.
All the makeup and hair for the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. I mean, is it a lot where you're constantly getting it put on?
Yes. So basically, I will say, especially when you're a rookie, you're always showing up to practice head to toe as if it's game day. So I always had makeup on my face. It was a lot. You're just beating your face every single day of your life. So it could be a lot. When you get a little into your tenure, when it comes to practices, you don't wear as much because you realize that your confidence really doesn't come from the makeup or anything. It just comes from just experience at that point. So you kind of lighten up on the makeup, but you can never show up as if you just rolled out of bed. That's like the number one rule, is that you always have to look presentable. And honestly, for us as well, since we're walking around the star, you get noticed a lot. And so you also don't want to look like you just rolled out of bed. You want to look your best.
Do they do your hair and makeup?
No.
What?
Yes.
I just assumed you were going to say yes.
No.
Okay.
They do not. So we are not one of the NFL teams that we get the option to get hair or makeup done. We do everything ourselves on
Really?
game day.
Wow. Well, you look fantastic even
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.
Is that's, I'm assuming, like the same type of process you do before a game as what you do before the podcast?
Oh, yes. Exactly the same. I had a history of pageants before, so I had to learn how to do my hair and makeup. It's just one of those things before you hit the stage. So it kind of helped leading into DCC, but there's so many people that had to learn the tips and tricks. They didn't know everything coming from different states. Makeup is not a huge thing everywhere else. I mean, we're in Texas, so everything's bigger. It's separate. And so there were a lot of people, it was like a culture shock for them. And they're like, I have to do what? How do I do that? What's contour? What's bronzer? So a lot of people did have to learn. I know that they have more resources now, but when I was on the team, we didn't have as much resources. We didn't have a makeup sponsor like that. So we went out, got all the things that we needed, and then
That's cool. I
learned
bet you
our
guys
best.
bonded over it.
Oh, yeah.
So you cheerleader, you were there for 4 years, and backstory, you were cheering at TCU
Yes.
on the dance. I'm sorry, on the dance
Dance
team.
team.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you kind of give us a little backstory on that, and how did you transition from TCU to DCC?
Yes. So going to TCU, it was honestly like my home away from home. And I knew being a studio dancer growing up, a competitive dancer, I wasn't done dancing yet out of high school. And I saw the showgirls. First of all, their uniforms were amazing. They have the most uniforms out of, I think, every dance team in the college world. So there's a lot of cute different styles. And I was like, wait, that's cute. And then they had cute little boots that had TCU on it. And I was like, okay, well, that's another thing that's super cute. But I also loved their game day style and performance style because I was never so much a technical dancer. Talk to any of my dance teachers. I was not winning awards because I was the best technically. I was out there because I was giving my heart and my passion and my performance. And that's what led me, honestly, to TCU. Was like a magnet for me because it was all about performance and just passion behind it all. And I was like, okay, I think that's where I want to go, Mom. And so I drove every single day from mm, school. I would leave school early. I would go all the way to Fort Worth because I lived in Houston. So I'd drive the 4 hours to Fort Worth, go to every workshop, and then I would drive back for school. And then I would do that the whole week before tryouts. TCU. I was very committed. Um, at the TCU audition, though, I had no clue what I was doing. Yeah. You don't really are now I feel like there's more resources, and that's kind of where my coaching business comes along. But back then, there wasn't a lot of resources for college prep auditions, things like that. So I had no clue what I was doing. I remember in the middle of auditions, I called my dad and I said, "No, you need to come get me. I'm not going to make this team." Yeah, and like, truly, I was so serious. I was crying in the bathroom, but God had other plans, of course. God said, "Get your butt back
TCU's
there."
Oh, they are great
They're
football team.
amazing. They're amazing. And
Mhm.
so I made the team by the grace of God, and I had 4 amazing years there. I was captain my last 2 years, learned a lot about
Yeah.
leadership and how I lead and how to work with others as well. And then from there, honestly, I kinda had, like, a little heart tug of, "Okay, I could be done if I wanted to, but I feel as if I'm not done." But going to DCC World, man, that's just
Did
a
you already know that of the DCC world other than you obviously knew what they were, but did you know when you were at TCU?
yes and no. And I only say that because I was small town girl from Indiana. I moved to Texas when I was 6. And so the only reason why I knew of it was because my dance director's daughter, when I joined a dance team when I was 6 years old, she was auditioning for DCC at the same time. And all these girls were fawning over her and they were so impressed by her. And I was like, what is DCC and why are you guys going crazy over it? And I kind of found the world from there, and honestly, that's kinda how God planted this amazing seed in my life in the first place was because she told me when I was in 3rd grade that she believed I was going to be a DCC when I grew up, and
Wow.
I didn't really know the weight of that compliment until I grew up, and honestly, God kinda led me to DCC from there and kept pulling me even though I tried to get away. I was like, "I don't wanna go on TV and make a fool of myself." Like,
Yeah.
once if I don't make it, at that point, they were on CMT, and I was like, "I don't know," and I asked God, I said, "If you really want me to do this thing, just give me the biggest sign you got." And 5 minutes later, I got a call from the DCC recruiter. And I was like, "All right, I guess we're doing this." And I definitely don't regret it. It was such an amazing opportunity. And
What an honor too. I just feel like, when you get older and stuff, you're gonna look back and you're like, "Wow, I can't believe
oh, yeah,
that was me."
a small percentage of the world can say that
Mhm.
they have been a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And
So your, leadership that the 2 years at TCU leadership role, did that really help you with the tryouts for DCC?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it helped me with the tryouts. I think it helped me later on. I only say that because when you're getting into DCC, it's almost like a clean slate. Whereas if you can be a quiet leader, I think my whole life I've been surrounded by a lot of amazing leadership. My mom was a youth youth pastor. And so I grew up with mentors and leaders all around me. So they instilled a lot of skills in me. I think TCU was the first place that I actually got to put those skills into play and see what it was like kind of with people who don't have the same personality as you or don't understand your style. And I think that's kind of more of what I learned is how to operate with an environment filled with different personalities and how people learn and kind of learning like, oh, not everyone does this like me or thinks like me. And I think that really helped when it came into DCC because I was surrounded by people from different states and not everyone thought the same. And so we kind of all just had to blend together. And you got to remember the best of the best are trying out for DCC.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I definitely want to know about tryouts.
Oh,
because I had watched some of the, the show, Netflix and the other one. So I've always wondered, like, first of all, about how many girls are trying out? Hundreds?
Hundreds reaching the thousands.
Wow. And then how many make it?
It just depends on the year. My year, 13 of us made it. And then I think this past year, only 6 made it.
And how many total cheerleaders are there?
36, always. Except with an exception of 1 year, there was 37.
Okay. So at the game that I was at the other day, I was obviously watching the game, but I was watching the cheerleaders. Okay, so you have like the 4 groups in the corner, right?
Yes.
And there's 36. What if someone's sick?
So this actually happened to me because I told you all about my injuries. So for instance, when I was really sick and the doctor said I could not perform, basically what happens is we have a team called All Stars and they are retired alumni and they come back and they perform sometimes or they step in for us. So they'll probably do Thunder to make sure the forms still look the same. Other than that, your group just fixes the formations. So instead of 9 in each corner, there'll be 8.
Okay.
And there's just a way of doing it. So it's just you're adaptable and you fix things.
Okay. And then tryouts, like what's the most dreaded part of the tryouts? Because I'm assuming you have to do so many different steps and they measure you in all kinds of different areas.
Oh, yes. So if you're just coming into DCC, you go through 3 different rounds. So you have your first round, which is going to be all over virtual. It's just you videotaping yourself doing a solo and then introducing yourself. Second round is you learn a DCC style dance, still virtual. And then you get welcomed into finals, which is right before training camp. That's when everyone comes in. That's what you see on the shows is everyone coming in, do your solos, and then you go on the field and you do 2 dances for the judges and kicks, of course. And then after that, people are welcomed into training camp. And I think that's probably the hardest part of your whole audition is going to be that training camp because it could be as long as 2 months, 2.5 months of you thinking that you can make this team, but you could get cut on that last day. You just don't know. So I always say it's very emotionally draining and mentally draining. A lot of people think that this is all physical, but I would say training camp is probably more mental than anything.
Yeah, because when I see the show and all the girls are in the stands and they're calling out the names, I'm like me. Like I'm sitting there going, oh, like I'm so excited, obviously, for when you get your name called. But then when the girls don't get their name called, I'm like, oh, like I used to coach. And when I was coaching out of high school, it was, sometimes 5 teams. It was a varsity, a JV, maybe a JV2, and then 1 to 2 freshman teams. And the worst part of coaching is the day you have to put the cuts out there. It's horrible.
It's terrible. It's
The
the worst
girls
feeling.
cry and they put so much into it. So I can't even imagine what's that like because you become friends with some of them. What
You
is it like?
do. Oh, I mean, you, especially as a rookie, it's like a trauma bond. It really is. It's a trauma bond. So your rookie class starts at training camp. A lot of people think it starts at the beginning of the season, but no, it starts at training camp with all those girls who made it. And you are practicing together 24/7. You live, eat, breathe DCC. You got to remember some of these girls are coming from different states. And so they have no home, they have no families. They're living in a hotel that the Cowboys provided, and that's your family for right now. And so when one of us is cut, it's terrible. It's like the worst feeling ever. I remember my best friend going through training camp, and the day that she was cut, people said it looked like I got cut. That's how badly I was crying.
Which one's your best friend?
She was my best friend through training camp. We still talk now, but her name was Presley.
Okay.
And yeah, everyone was like, Katie, we thought you got cut because you were crying so hard. But
I could get that. Understand.
that's your person. You find your person going through these things, and you want the best for them. They want the best for you. It's definitely in training camp. I think everyone views it as a more competitive thing, but no one there is viewing it as if, oh, I need to beat you to get on this team, or it's me against you. It's not like that.
I don't get that impression at all.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. We're all working hard. We all know that God has a specific plan for each of us. So whoever makes it, it's supposed to be your time. But at the end of the day, we're all still girls with lots of emotions that just work hard for what we want and the passions we want to get to. So it's hard when one of us leaves.
Yeah. And then so when as far as tryouts, how do they pick the team?
So it's a long process, like I said, through training camp, and each night is a different genre of dance, basically, that you're learning. When I was going through training camp, it's a little different now, but when I was going through training camp, every single night it was a different dance instructor, and it might be lyrical, it might have been hip hop, it might be game day. You just never knew. So you had that category of it, and you would have to go out, learn the dance, and then go in groups, and they specifically placed you in a certain group. So each day you would like come and you would know what group that you're in, and you would go out to be like group 1, group 2, whatever it is. And you would go in your groups, and then they would judge you basically, and you would have to stand there, and they would go down the line and be like, you did great. You didn't do great. You could do better, kind of thing. So you expected that every single night. You go out there to be judged, basically. So that's kind of how part of it is. And then they also, if you have watched the CMT show, they have a little ranking, and we don't get to personally see it unless you're called into the office. But I never got to see it in person. But they take all the pictures from all the girls that are in training camp, and it's almost like a Dance Mom vibe where it's like a pyramid, but it's not. And it's ranked from 1 all the way to how many girls are still in training camp. And then they show you if you're in the bottom as well. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of how they're picking. Is
I have seen where like they'll get the bio with your picture on it, and I can they put them out, and they're kind of looking at. I mean, how does that make you feel? Where they're like, well, her hair's too dark, or her hair's too, because they talk about that on CMT and on the shows.
Yes. So there's an actual day where they will bring you up, and you already know if you're going to be a makeover or not. So it'll be a practice day, and then they'll bring you up and be like, okay, so we're going to have to change some things. Or they'll bring one of the sponsors in, and then he'll tell you what they're thinking about changing their appearance, and how that a hair flip can change by adding layers, all the different things. And then you have your big makeover day. And for me, I was one of the biggest transformations because I was so used to the straight hair, and natural curly hair was not a thing when I was growing up. It just wasn't. There wasn't a lot of role models showing us like, be okay in your skin kind of thing. And so I did pageants as well. So at the age of 5, I was already straight hair always. Don't put me in curly hair.
The flat iron?
Flat iron.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. And going to TCU, which was a predominantly white school, I was like, I gotta blend in. I gotta blend in.
Because you're mixed.
I am mixed. And I mean, I remember one rainy game day that my natural hair came out, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I remember my dance director coming up to me and being like, can you do something about your hair?
She did not.
Yeah. And so it's just like little things like that that has always kept me from hiding my natural hair just because weren't used to it. And I think in the pageant world, it started recently, starting to get more popular, just showing your natural hair. And when I started DCC, that was the whole aspect of them wanting me to go the natural route and basically just own my natural hair. Now, was I necessarily really confident dancing like that? No. But I knew my confidence couldn't just stem from my hair alone.
So what was it like when they pulled you to the side and were like, "Makeover, Katie, and what you've been used to your whole life, we're about to change"?
I knew it was gonna happen. I just did, because talking with a lot of alumni, especially someone that I was close with, she had similar hair, and they did the same thing to her, and so she was like, "I'm just gonna tell you right now, you're mixed, they're gonna wanna see your natural hair, so just get ready for that." It's like, "Okay, that's fine." And so when you're going through it, you have to act like everything's okay, and for the camera, of course, because 'cause you're trying to make a team. You're not gonna tell your boss no, you know? And so for me, it was more of like, "Okay, I'm just gonna grow into this. This is how God made me anyways. It's gonna be fine." But I don't think I ever truly did necessarily. But that's how they saw me. And so I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't change it. I tried. Trust me, I tried. I went up to them every year asking if I could have straight hair.
Did you ever show up with the straight hair?
Oh, I can show up to practice with straight hair. I just could never show up to appearances, events, or anything like that with straight hair because I was DCC KayDianna with curly hair.
Yeah, I think the episode I saw, I can't remember the details because, like I said, I've watched several episodes, but not a lot. And I think they changed one of the girls from like blonde to redhead. And I was like, that has to have been shocking for this young girl.
Yeah, I was there. She I love her to pieces. She did go from blonde, I think it was like a brunette red almost, and they did cut her that next day, and I felt terrible because it
After she cut her hair and colored it?
uh-huh.
Stop it.
It was like it's an identity shift when you're changing your whole hair. Like, truly, you look in a mirror and you're like, "Who is that?" And so I remember for her, it was the same way, and then she got cut. I was like, "It's fine. Everything's fine because that's how they want you for the team," you know? Especially if you think they're doing something drastic like that, you think that they want you on their team, if you know? And in her case, it wasn't that way, and she did get cut. Now, I will say she's still a brunette to this day.
I was gonna ask you
Now
that.
she is now on she's on the team, she's thriving, and she loves it now.
I love it.
So, honestly, I think it was a good change. It was just such a big change for her in the moment where she's like, "Oh, what's happening?"
Oh my gosh, good for
So
her though. I'm glad that worked.
yeah, I'm happy for her. She looks beautiful. She looks great.
Yeah.
And it actually took her back to her roots as well, because I believe, I don't want to get it wrong, but she comes from a Latino family, and that's her natural was brunette. And she was like, "It's so weird seeing me back." Like,
Mhm.
she turned herself blonde because I bet it'd be, I'm not going to speak for her, but I bet it's the same way I felt. Like, you want to try to blend in with
Right.
everyone around you. And she was like, "It was so weird going back to my roots," but now she loves it. So
Okay, that's good. So do you guys have this is kind of a dumb question, but is there pressure on how much you weigh and like the looks with the outfit?
I'm not going to say yes and or no, just because earlier on, of course, a lot of people still go back to CMT days where they were still weighed and they had to maintain the same weight from training camp. I'm not gonna lie, I was probably the most unhealthiest in training camp because you got to remember, like for me, I told you it's you wake up, you dance, you dance the whole day, you eat. What I only ate one meal a day, and so I would wake up, have my one breakfast, my one meal day. I would practice until practice. Then after training camp, you would go home, you learned a new routine, and then I went back to the gym and I practiced whatever I learned that night. So I was just dancing the whole time. And so I got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And for me, you get your uniform and it's fitted to you from training camp.
Okay.
So I'm at my skinniest, and they used to say you don't get a new uniform. So you would have to maintain your training camp weight from when you were a rookie. And a lot of these girls are 18 coming in. So they're tiny. They haven't changed yet. Your body's constantly changing as a woman. And so they're tiny. And so we were told that we have to maintain that certain weight throughout your whole tenure. So I went through 4 years. So I had to try to maintain the same weight from when I was a rookie at my unhealthiest. So it just didn't quite make sense. Um, Luckily enough, that changed. We had some talks, and they're like, okay, let's fit you for a new short or a new whatever. So not necessarily they don't get weighed anymore. It's just more, you need to fit in your uniform kind of thing. But I always say that uniform, it's truly like a super suit because everyone looks good in it.
Everyone.
I don't get it. I like truly don't understand. Like I have
100%.
thunder thighs, and I don't understand why my thighs still look good in it.
Your thighs look amazing.
It doesn't.
I saw you when I was looking up your videos. I was like, oh my God, it looks so pretty and perfect.
It's the dancer thighs, but
Interesting you say that. It's like a shift when all the girls put it on and you all look amazing.
oh yeah, everyone looks so good. So I mean, your weight's gonna fluctuate, of course. And now they're a little bit more lenient on if you need new shorts, or sometimes now they're like, okay, your butt's showing. We're gonna cover you up more. And I think that also probably stems from them having daughters too now, and just what they would want to see their daughters wearing on the field. So yeah, they definitely, it's changed over time.
And so it's Judy, right?
Judy and Kelly.
Judy and Kelly, yes. Do they just kind of become second moms to you girls?
You would hope that. Uh, in my case, not necessarily. I Like I said, I'll speak from my experience. You got to remember that they've been doing this for a really long time. And so each team is always different. They come and then they go, and then they got to bring in new girls. They got to cut other girls. And so it's one of those relationships where you can't really expect to really know them, unless you're one of the ones that they decide to get to know. And there are some of those girls where they want to get to know them, and I won't call them favorites, but favorites. And for me, I think Judy, for instance, she is like the team mom. She really is. Without her, the team would honestly be nothing. She's like the glue. So she's at practices. She's with us in like the hard times, the bad times, all the times. And with a mom, she's not going to let you fail kind of thing, or she's going to tell you how it is. Like if something sucks, she's going to let you know, like, that was not good. And of course you can get your feelings hurt sometimes, but it's for the best. She just wants to make sure that the team looks the best it can be. So I give a lot of props to Judy for everything that she does for the team, and everything that she's still doing. I mean, man, it's been it's been a long time for each generation. So I really do appreciate Judy and like everything that she does. But they don't necessarily become like
I got it.
second moms for everyone.
Yeah. So typically, how long are most of the girls a DCC cheerleader? Do they typically make it the next year and a few years in a row?
Um, so it changes for each person, and there's not a limit on how old you can be or when you have to stop. Of course, there's an age limit for when you can come. So 18 years old, and you can be there for as long as you want. I think the longest tenure thus far was 9 years.
Wow.
And so I don't know how you do it for 9 years. I don't think
The leg is in the air 9 years.
I don't think they were kicking and jump splitting yet. So I think that might be why. But nowadays it's probably 4 years. 3 to 4 is average. You'll get a handful of 5th years, and then very rare 6 years. Very rare.
Okay. I do have a question. You said something about you're dancing all day. So do you guys, some of you have other careers?
Yes. So when I was a rookie, that's when I was dancing all day in training camp, but you are required to have a job and or be a student to be a DCC. And that's just to help maintain bills and keep your lifestyle,
So if
things
you're
like that.
working, let's say to 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, how does that work with y'all's schedule?
So you work 9 to 5 and then practice would be at 7. And then you basically come right after work. You have a little break, especially if you're a leader. So you work a 9 to 5, you go home really fast, grab a bite to eat, come straight to the studio because you probably have a meeting with Judy or with the rest of the leaders, and then you get started from
Okay.
there. So you have 7 to 10.
Okay. I have heard that. I've heard like there's lawyers and all kinds of
Oh, yeah,
different
everywhere.
professions.
We're everywhere, different professions, lawyers, dentists, teachers. There's so many different things now. Pilates instructors, we got a lot of those. And I think what's cool is we have a lot of alumni in the area. And I think the hardest thing trying to get a normal job is uh, letting your boss understand the DCC schedule because you won't ever know. I mean, you have appearances left and right. Sometimes you'll have a Thursday night game or a Friday night game or a Monday night game, and you have to tell them, hey, I can't be here at all. So, or you will have like team trips. So you have to take off all of that time. They have their tour now. So they're gone for 2 weeks and they have to take off work for 2 weeks. So it's very hard to find a job, a real job with them being lenient of you missing so many days. But it happens. You
Yeah.
can find it. It's just very rare. So you definitely have more people part-time than full-time with jobs. Or like I said, alumni have dance studios now. And so a lot of them will just hire DCCs because they understand their schedule and
Okay.
all that.
So I was going to ask another question on one of the episodes I was watching. One of the girls got harassed pretty bad by a fan,
Mm.
and it was on the show. She talked about it, and I really wanted to know, is that common? Because you're like right there with all those, guys
Yeah.
watching you beat up a young lady. So is it something that happens often, and how do you handle that?
Oh, it's very common. Very, very, very common actually. Just because you gotta you gotta know men sometimes. You add alcohol into the factor, and to them, it's all about, like, sex appeal, and it almost feels sometimes like we're animals in a zoo where they think that we're for their entertainment, but this is our dreams and our passions, and that's not what it's about. But I've had multiple guys, like, I'll be dancing and they'll try to get my attention and say, "Hey, call me, give me your phone number." And I mean, we have football players even. We've had football players come over and talk to us. Of course, opposing teams, not our team, but the opposing teams harassing us on the sidelines, being like, We don't understand why you're still cheering for your team." We've had people come up to us and tackle us, not say anything.
Tackle you.
Yeah, like on accident. Of course, they're not in a play, but they'll just get up like nothing happened. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so many things going on. So
Said that visual.
yeah. So it's very, very common. Like I was dancing one time as a rookie, and we have a specific spot where we go out on the field for timeouts. And this one player, he just did not care, and he just like bumped into me with his huge pads, and I was like, "What's going on?" And so we do quite often get picked on, harassed by fans.
Yeah.
Sadly, sometimes the opposing team, but we're used to it
Okay.
at this point. We
Do you
stay
guys get to
professional.
know the players at all?
No, we're not allowed to. The only time that we ever communicate with them, honestly, is probably at appearances at times. If we have, um the one thing that I can honestly think about is our hospital visits, and that one is just a full cowboy organization thing, and so we get on these big buses, and that's the only time that cheerleaders and football players are mixed in together.
So you can't date.
No,
It's one of the rules.
no, you cannot. You cannot date a football player. Not at all. Not saying that football players don't try. but we like to keep our jobs. So, yeah,
I can imagine.
yeah. So,
There's got to be some juicy stories about that.
oh yeah, some players are interesting.
Who's your favorite player?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it changes from time to time. I always like to say Terp because he went to TCU, and at TCU we always had Turpin time. So I was excited when he did come to the Cowboys. He's a great player, but honestly, if I would have to choose this year, I would say Aubrey just because he's really helping my fantasy team. And, I mean, if you can rely on any football player, it's gonna be Aubrey because he always makes those kicks, except that one that he missed the other week, but that's all right.
He is amazing.
When I tell you, because I think he came my 2nd year or my 3rd year. And we were very nervous because they were like, "We got a new kicker." He played soccer, not football, and we're hoping. And I was like, "Great." So all the preseason games, he missed almost every single field goal. And we said, "Why do we have this guy? We don't understand. We brought him in to help us, but he is hindering us." And then when it hit season, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he went to God himself and said, "Please." But ever since then, he's been
Best
amazing.
kicker
He's
in
the
the NFL.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I said, "What happened?" Because preseason, maybe that was when he had to get his jitters out because he missed everything. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, guys, it's not gonna happen for us." So no, I love Aubrey. He's the best, and he seems like a real genuine,
Yeah.
authentic guy too.
Yeah, I
So
agree. So the cameras, Netflix, like all the shows, CMT, what's that like? How like realistic is it when you go back and watch the show to real life behind the scenes?
specifically Netflix.
Yes.
Okay. So with Netflix, you got to remember since this is a year's worth of content, there's so much happening and they get hours on hours of things and then you only see maybe 15 seconds of 1 month. Literally of 1 month. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that it's all completely to a T everything that happened throughout the year. I won't say that it's not honest. Of course, when you see what people have said and things like that, those are the words that they're using. It's not like they hand you a script and they're like, "Hey, say this." So that part, no. But the other part, I always like to tell people, we're not in charge of editing. You don't know where these things are coming from, when these things are happening, and how they're editing certain things. So that's all I can necessarily say about Netflix and how they do things, is just they video and then they take a really long video and then they
And
chop it into
they have
little
like what,
things.
6 or so like main characters or cast members, I would say they call them on the show.
Yeah, the first year, it was 3, so you had, like, Reese, Kelsey, Victoria, and then this 2nd year, I know they really wanted to just, like, try to get as many people as possible, but the thing with that is you always have to have main characters, and so I think they had a lot of sub characters this past season, and then probably another handful of 3, maybe 2 main characters.
Mhm. And then so you cheered 4 years, and then what month did you leave?
I left March,
March.
so I early retired.
Okay, early retired after 4 years. I would like to ask, what happened. I'm not sure how much you can talk about, but I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the biggest thing was there was a lot that happened that year, and it was a lot of unknowns. A lot of unknowns and a lot of things that I don't think necessarily the organization has ever gone through, without people knowing, and with Netflix in their faces, I think it was one of those things where it's like, "Okay, what are we gonna do? We are broadcasted across the world, and how are we going to portray this certain problem, and how are we gonna find a solution really fast?"